Tight here. Yeah. How's it going, Jessi?
It's going good. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
This is a very special episode because we have a guest for the first time ever. So welcome to Grind to Grow. Jessi, welcome. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
Appreciate taking the time
Yes.
to do this.
I didn't know I was your first guest.
You are. So this is a special episode. Yeah. This is what's gonna make me famous.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So my name is Jessi Luzius. I am a massage therapist. I grew up in Michigan and moved here to Asheville like about 7 years ago. Spent some time back and forth between Asheville and Mexico for a couple of years, where I worked in a resort spa. And yeah, I'm living the Asheville life currently. And,
Okay. And what do you do right now?
for work,
Yes.
massage therapy, and I have a private practice downtown Asheville. I specialize in sports, massage, and pain reduction. But I get a lot of different clients from the.
So what you're saying is, athletes, come to me.
Yeah.
I'll fix you.
Yes.
There you go. Okay, everybody, go. And how long have you been doing this?
4 years.
4 years. And what made you decide to go full on this path of work?
You know, it was sort of a winding path for me. I've always been really interested in human anatomy, how the body works, how it can work better, things that we can do to heal ourselves naturally. But I started out doing energy work because I was fascinated by it. And then I just slowly got into this more like manual type of therapy. And I started becoming more athletic myself and realizing how I needed to take care of my body. And that started informing my practice in this way that really tilted it more towards athletic.
Okay. And what has been the biggest challenge to continue doing your work and also to continue training?
It's really body intensive. I mean, my whole life is very physically intensive because of my work. I'm working with like all different types of people, and no matter what, I'm leveraging my body in ways. But sometimes it's working with really like big bodybuilders, and I have to really exert a lot of force.
Do you have to like elbow them or like kind of step on them?
I don't do the stepping.
Okay, because I've seen that.
It is, yeah. Actually,
Does that work? And
yeah. It's a different type of modality. You need some specialized.
You can't just step on somebody
to hold yourself up.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
I was gonna add that to my services.
You could try.
Step on people's backs.
You could try.
I mean,
he's already getting in there with the
right. Yeah.
rod,
Let's make sure they sign a waiver before I do that.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I got permission, guys. I can start doing that now.
Yeah. Where were we at?
You were telling us how, like, because of the different type of people that you get, that it's very intense
Leveraging.
on your body.
Yeah, and so I'm constantly doing these like pushing motions, very forward. I'm in these like lunges and squats all day long, just trying to get the right angle so I'm not hurting my body, but also to exert the right level of pressure for my client.
Right.
So that's all day long for me. And then on top of that, I'm really active. So I train with you like 3 to 5 times a week. I skate, I roller skate. Sometimes I run, I dance. I like to be active, but that means I'm always using my body. So I have to be really careful what type of activity I'm doing, when I need to rest, and getting massage care for myself as well.
And because we've been working together for a while,
Yeah.
right? And the intensity of your work, and then all the other activities that you have that you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you balance that out, and then having to add self-care? Do you pick and choose, or do you like, I'm gonna do all of them and then like just kind of figure out what I can fit, or do you like, okay, now I know how my body's gonna feel after this or after that, I need to do this?
I don't like having to pick and choose. I want to be able to do everything, and I know that's not always
Right. Yeah.
the ideal thing, but I'm always gonna push it a little bit to try to be able to do everything. But that does mean that sometimes, when I have to listen to my body. If it's too much, I need to rest. And resting for me doesn't always mean I'm like, sitting on the couch.
Lay on the couch, watching TV with a bag of chips. Right.
Sometimes. I am definitely doing that. But
that's okay. Okay. That's okay, guys.
okay.
If you ever need to do that, that's okay.
Full.
Chips, ice cream, brownies.
All of it.
And it's okay. We've all done it. I did it this weekend. Felt great.
I did it all day
Yeah.
yesterday. Yeah.
There you go. See?
But that's not always what I mean when I say I'm resting, because part of recovery is actually movement, but just movement light.
Right.
And so that's having some active recovery, which might be like going for a walk or like an easy skate or some body movement mobility stuff. That's like 15-20 minutes out of my day. But honestly, I noticed when I first started doing massage, I wasn't quite as active. Like I said, I wasn't really as athletic as I am right now. And I was injuring myself all the time. Specifically my shoulders. I would get injuries in my shoulder and neck. And a lot of that is body mechanics. As therapists, we have to be really careful with our positioning so that we're not giving ourselves repetitive use strains and all these like type of joint strains that we can get if we're in the wrong positions. But on top of that, I realized a lot of it was strengthening. Like I needed to strengthen my body to have more of a stable foundation for my work.
Yeah.
And as soon as I started doing that, my injuries went down and my pain went down. So that's a really big part of it. There's a balance of strengthening and rest, and then some manual therapies, whether that's something I'm doing for myself, like myofascial release, like rolling or
the crossball,
exactly, or getting a massage, which nothing can really replace that, but there's a lot of other things that we can do.
Right. Yeah.
Alongside of that are complementary.
Yeah.
So that's the hugest thing. I try not to have to take away my favorite things.
Right. Yeah.
But I'll work out here with you, like I said, 3 to 5 times. It's like 3 times a week, and then I'll skate 3 times a week, and then I'll dance once or twice, and I try to just know that if I'm going to be doing this, I need to go a little bit lighter on the training.
Right. Yes. Yeah, I think that's important to remember, because we have all this activities or things that we want to do and keep doing, and a lot of it is very physical.
Yeah.
And it just like training, I see a lot of people, they go just non-stop with training, and which is great because you strengthen your body, you're getting stronger and this, all of that, and faster, but you do it for so long and do it too much that you forget that the recovery part or the maintenance is as important as you pushing and doing lots of reps, lots of weight. Mm-hmm. So that balance that you mentioned is crucial for longevity.
Absolutely.
So you have all this, days of training, days of fun activities that you enjoyed, mm-hmm. then that balance, it is crucial.
Yeah. And
knowing or being able to, figure that out, like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and then I have this, and I'm going to do this because, I want to.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna slow down here instead of going 100 miles an hour in every single thing, and it's not possible.
You're gonna burn yourself out.
Right. And the one thing I've seen a lot, even with myself, that just you get into this, I don't know what you want to call it, but you just like go nonstop between the training and training yourself and training others, mm-hmm. and you forget about the little things that will allow you to continue, mm-hmm. right? And it's like, oh, why does my body feel this way? Yeah. Even though if it was feeling great, because I've been there so many times, like, and I'm pushing and pushing, and everything feels great, and then that day we're like, nope, not today.
Yep.
It's not happening, or something starts to hurt, or something just doesn't feel right, and you're like, why I can't squat, or why can't I do this? Well, your body's telling you that you need to slow down, you need to stop, or you're not going to be able to do that for quite a while.
Yeah.
And for a lot of us that have been doing this for a while, it's very frustrating because we want to move. We have things that we want to do, whether it's physical activities or doing stuff with other people that we enjoy. And it's I mean, it takes those frustrating times to learn how to really treat our bodies and pay more attention,
Yeah.
and not overdo it.
Yeah. And I think I'm sure you've heard the phrase, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yeah.
And I think planning for your recovery is crucial to maintaining your momentum.
Oh yeah.
It is. It's so frustrating. I mean, you know, I still have injuries that I work through, and it's so frustrating when I'm just like I can't do something because I was gaining momentum and it felt really good. And I think a lot of athletes are have this mindset where it's like, you know, you're like climbing the mountain, you're like taking one step forward, and then something gets in your way, and it's so frustrating. And some of that is hard to plan for, but if you are putting recovery and self-care into your plan, your training plan, you're likely going to go a little farther, even if that takes, you know,
You take a few
a
steps
day.
back.
Yeah, it takes a day from your training schedule, whatever it does.
Right, yeah.
It's going to help you go farther.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a bunch of other things that you can do to modify your training. It may not be the same.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, if you break a leg, then you probably won't be squatting in the next 5-6 months, right? Maybe not, I don't know. People recover at different paces, right? But there is, and I tell this to everybody, that even if something's going on, you can still do the class, you can still train. My goal is to keep you moving.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if it feels like you lost momentum, you don't. We just gotta modify it so you can keep moving. And it may not be as exciting as you pulling the sled or running a 6-mile pace, but you're still moving.
Yeah.
You're still continuing that consistency, and you're still continuing to build that discipline of always doing something, or whether it's training. And if you, like you said, if you add that self-care, mobility, flexibility, maybe it's a yoga class, maybe it's, you know, going on a hike, maybe it's, you know, getting a massage. It'll make, I mean, such a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's hard to, mindset-wise, again, we tend to be competitive people with other people or with ourselves. And so it's hard to not be have some self-judgment when you're in that space.
Right.
And comparing yourself to what you could do last week that you can't do today. But it's really a matter of honoring where your body's at right now and what its current limitations are, and not we go right up to that edge, but we don't push the edge.
Right. Yeah.
And that's another thing that is a developed practice over time.
Oh yeah. I think that lands with, you know, discipline and really learning, you know, how to listen to your body.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, we get into that momentum of like everything's going great, and like every day, and like I'm PRing here, or I'm doing this, so I'm beating everybody in class, and then you just hit that wall because something happened, injury or whatever, and then we're not prepared mentally, because we were just going, everything was so great, right? So then you hit that wall, and then what do? Because they don't really teach you to, like, I don't know, fail, or like this is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Maybe they do, but eventually it will happen, and you will have to slow down. Something will slow you down, and that's where having other people around you that can like coach you, teach you, or encourage you to like, it's okay, right? Now we can do this.
Yeah.
Even though you can't do this, well, you can still, because you still want to move, you still want to get stronger, you still want to maintain the habit of being physically active. Let's do this instead of this, because guess what? Maybe in 6 months, maybe in 9, maybe it takes a year, you will get back to it. It may not be the same, but you can still get back to it.
Yeah.
And I think teaching that is very important, because when people get injured, they tend to slow down way too much. And like, I'm just gonna sit down and I'm just gonna recover. Like, no, that's not how you do it.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt you more than it's gonna help you.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, encouraging people and teaching people, coaching people properly. Like, okay, yes, this happened, but this is what else you can do. And I think that's something from like personal trainers, they need to do more. We need to do more, which is really coaching people on, hey, you can still do all this even if this is happening. And every scenario is going to be different. Every person is going to be different. Whether there's a bad physical injury, maybe something going on in the family, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be always physical, right?
Right.
And I feel like that's where we come in, and we like have to really motivate people and encourage people to keep going, because they don't have that in their personal lives. And I just think we need to do that more often and check on people, like, why are you not here? Why didn't you show up to class? Like, what's going on? Because maybe that's all it needs. Like, oh man, they do miss me. We do miss you. Get to class. Yes. Yeah. And with your practice, you say you see a range of people.
Yeah.
And is there like certain type of people, athletes, you like to work more, or you like having a variety of people?
I think I tend to see a lot of dancers, but part of that's because my partner's a dancer. There's a pretty big dance community in Asheville. Whether that, like, there's a huge pole dance community, there's a lot of pole studios, and like, every style from there on out. So I tend to see a lot of dancers, but that's not what I specialize in. But something that people might not realize is, like, so I do sports massage, and I take an athletic approach, a movement approach to my work, but I do that with every single client. So I have a lot of clients that are not athletic, they really don't have a really big like exercise presence in their life, but they might be working at a desk all day long, and so there's still, if you're working at a desk, your arms are out in front of you, you're seated, so your legs are in flexion, you might be kind of curling your body in, and those muscles are getting overworked and overused in a similar way to physical activity. And so I'll still take the same approach, where I am looking at which muscles are getting overused, which ones might be a little bit neglected, and how we can create some space and mobility in that part of your body to bring some balance. So it's a really similar approach, and I think we can take that into our daily lives, whether you're an athlete or not. What are you doing over and over again that might be causing some pain? Even if it's like, this is really common, feeling pain in the back of your shoulders, but what's really going on is that you're slumping over and folding forward. So even if you're feeling pain somewhere else or in your low back, it might be from those repetitive things that we're doing all day, whether that is, weight training or sitting at a desk. And it's true, because we're on our phone a lot too, and we just do this, right? Kids, get off your phone. Don't look at your phone in bed. I was saying that to myself too. I do have, I'm saying to clients, but we're over here like cushiony ourselves, and then we're just putting our neck into this position, and then eventually it kind of grows there.
Exactly.
So any of those repetitive things, any chronic pain, whether it's severe or kind of mild, is something that can be addressed with sessions. Yeah, so I'll do that. And I really don't think that there's nothing that can replace a manual therapy session like that with a experienced practitioner.
Right.
Because it is really helpful to have somebody's like eyes and hands on your body and noticing where there might be some dysfunction or an imbalance that we just simply can't see or feel for ourselves.
Totally agree. Yeah.
So that's really huge. But also the other thing is having your body just be completely relaxed. I mean, you're like truly laying down.
Yeah, if you do it to yourself, you're not really relaxed because you're putting pressure.
Yeah.
Whether you're using like foam roll, lacrosse ball, like you're not really. You know, we said like, yeah, they put a lot of pressure on it, but probably didn't. Like somebody else are doing it and like, you know, doing it the right way, the right push on the right muscle, right?
Yeah, and knowing which, you know, muscles might correlate with this issue.
Right. Yeah.
And you know, whole fascial systems and another thing entirely that can be addressed too. But that being said, I think there's so many things that we can do in between sessions. If a massage therapist or other type of therapy, you know, like physical therapy, chiropractic, if you're into that, if that's inaccessible to you financially or time-wise, there are still other things that we can do for ourselves, and I really love advocating for those because we can do so much for free and without any equipment or with minimal equipment. That's huge.
Yeah, I think, and I completely agree. And like the money part, like it's, because I hear that all the time, like, oh, I can't afford this.
Yeah.
Louise, you're too expensive. I'm like, well, I'm trying to help you, right? And I've heard that from your line of work where, you know, the prices could be somewhat high, but the way I see it, just like personal training, it's an investment. So you are investing in your body so you can, you know, prolong the activities that you want to do every single day, whether you're an athlete or you're not. Especially if you're an athlete, you need to invest in self-care. And now, if you train 2-3 times a day, 2 to 3 hours a day, then you should be doing some crazy self-care.
Absolutely.
Because if you know, that's a lot on your body, right? And even those people that are not athletes but they're very sedentary, but you still need it because you're not. There's some areas like you mentioned that they're not being used. They're being neglected, and then later on it becomes chronic, and then there's other issues that come along. But I do feel like people should invest to see somebody like you because they can learn it how to do it the right way. Because you can pull up a video on YouTube, and they might show you, and they might be doing it right, and they might be telling you how to do it properly. But I feel like physically being there, them showing you, it's a whole lot better than you've seen somebody on the screen.
And everybody's anatomy is a little different. You know, and like certainly we learn anatomy, and that is this, here's this, and there's, you know, it's attached to this, and that's true. But it's everybody's a little bit different. So seeing a video on YouTube and then applying that to yourself can be really helpful, and I do recommend you try. But it's also not like the end all be all because you might have some differences that aren't being addressed in this video. That a professional can know and see on the spot, and then adjust their process as needed.
Yeah, I think the issue that I had with my hips, which I thought it was, but it wasn't. It was something completely different, and I didn't know until I saw a professional. And I tried different things, and nothing worked until, in my case, was dry needling, right? And that worked, and they were able to really figure out the origin of what was causing the pain and the compensation. There were so many things that were so out of line. In my case, there had to be something deeper to fix. And I think, I put my example again as a personal trainer. There's only so much I can do to help you. I can look at the alignment of your body, how you're moving, how you're performing and doing a certain movement, and I can help you correct it. and even I can add some bands and do this other stuff, but if it doesn't work, if they're still there, or there's other compensation that I can't see because legally I can't touch it, right? And I don't know, even if I did, I'm like, dude, I don't know.
Yeah.
You kind of have to see somebody else. Go see Jessi, right? And I think that's also something that we need to do more as personal trainers, is to advise people to see other professionals, because we can't fix everything.
Yeah.
Like, we can help you get stronger, help you lose weight, help you with, coach you with diet and this and that, but deeper stuff, like they have to go to people like you, because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's out of your scope of practice, and when something's out of mine, I also refer out to a physical therapist.
Right.
Something. Yeah, that's important. And I think, going back to accessibility of seeing a professional, I think even if you can see a massage therapist twice a year, that, even though that's not going to be enough momentum with that massage therapist to make a lot of changes in your body,
right,
that would be a reference point that you can work with a professional, get manual work done on your body, and then get some feedback about, where you might be experiencing some dysfunction, where some strengthening might need to happen, where you can focus on self-myofascial release for yourself. And then, you go back 6 months later and see, any improvements or changes, and then you go from there. And that can be a way to really reduce the cost of care and make a more informed plan for yourself.
Right, yes,
I mean, of course, if you can see a therapist, I recommend like twice a month if you're really active, more if you're, working out 2 to 3 hours a day, like that, even more. But there's so many different ways to make it work for you. It's just requires making a plan.
Right, yeah, and I think that takes time to really learn how to do that.
It does.
Or have the discipline to, well, I'm already working out, but now I have to go see somebody else, and I have to make the time for this. And yes, but if you really want to, you will make time for it.
Mm-hmm.
And just like training, you're making time for it, which is great. And I love when people show up for class, show up for training. But then, okay, if you're doing this much and you want to continue doing it, guess what? This is what you need to do. You need to go see this person. You need to do this, because, and I can tell right away if person's not moving the same like they were last week.
Yeah.
Okay, guess what? Something's going on, and we tend not to say anything. We're like, oh no, I'm fine.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, you're not. Your face is turning red, and you're not even doing anything. You're getting off the floor. Like, something's going on.
Yeah.
So it's hard to let our ego go and ask for help.
Absolutely.
Even if especially as professionals, we've been doing this for a while, we don't know everything. I'm just gonna be the first one to say I don't know everything.
Learning every day still.
Yeah, and every time I get to work with somebody, talk with somebody, or be around other people that are in a different field, even if it's a personal trainer, but they focus on other type of athletes, I just like to listen and to see, so I can learn, and maybe I can apply some of the stuff to my training or to the way I do things.
Yeah.
Because that's the beauty of fitness and health. It's like evolving, always. There's always something new to learn, something new that you can apply to it. But yeah, going back to that ego thing, we need to ask for help. Everybody.
Yeah.
Even if you think you're doing everything.
Yeah. And even ask for help from yourself. and that comes in when it's you're training so hard and you're not willing to stop and take a break and reassess where your body's at. That's asking for help from yourself. Just do I need something right now? Do I need to do something different? Do I need to take a step back, or a step aside? It doesn't have to be backwards, like a lateral move.
Right.
And just reassess where I'm at, so I'm not pushing beyond it, because that's counter-effective. That's moving against our goals when we're only training and not allowing time for recovery.
Yeah.
And I don't even really mean time. I also mean like action. Like
Right.
action.
Yeah. It's just like we talked before, modifying or just going a little bit in this direction instead of just going 100 miles an hour doing this thing. That you may feel like you're making progress and feel great, but it's the next step.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of clients who do so many things. A lot of it are runners. They like to do this and do that, and like they do a race every other weekend, or they have this like crazy long, races that they have to do. And I'm like, okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So how are we gonna approach this? How are we gonna train? Like, do you have enough time to train, to prepare yourself? Is your body ready for it? And there's, if there's a pause, well then that's a no, right? You're not sure. You haven't really thought about all the questions that I just asked because you're excited about this race, which is great.
Yeah.
And I think, and I'm actually doing a race coming up in a race really, really soon.
Yeah.
And I am not prepared. I'm just doing it for fun and to challenge myself. And it's great to do those because we set a goal, and even if we don't do great, we learn from it, and now we train or prepare, better. And one of the questions that I was asked is it worth it?
That's a good one.
Is it worth it for you to keep going at this pace? And it's like, if the end of the line is finish that race, are you gonna finish it like you want to, or you're just gonna go all out and not knowing what's gonna happen? So I feel like it's worth it. It's better for you to do the race, you finish it, but nothing broke. You came out alive in one piece. Or what if something happens during training and you're not able to do it? How's that gonna affect you emotionally, mentally, and this other stuff? It's not gonna be good because you're gonna feel like you fail. So I feel like that's another thing we should ask ourselves as we're training, even if you're not preparing for something, but it's just you keep moving on training on this and that. Is it worth it? Am I taking enough time to rest, to recover? Am I doing my maintenance? Am I taking time to reassess? Because as athletes and professionals, we don't do it until somebody tells us to do it.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to forget because you're just like going, everything feels great, and then something happens.
It doesn't feel great anymore. Yeah.
So yeah, I think everybody out there watching this needs to go see Jessi, okay, as soon as possible. But anything else that you would like to add, Jessi?
Let's see. Just that. So if you are looking to see a massage therapist, to see me, if you're in Nashville.
Her information will be linked below.
Yes, it will. That massage can be really helpful for pre-event if you are doing like a long race. A light, quick, 15-minute massage can go a long way for injury prevention for a long event like that. Post-event, or post-training, post-really hard training, massage therapy can be really helpful to prevent DOMS, so delayed onset muscle soreness. And then it can also help, studies have shown that it helps renew the growth of the mitochondria, which are the energy producing cells in our muscles, and cell renewal. So it helps with recovery on a really direct level. But then it also helps with recovery in the way that it releases endorphins, so that can help with our psychological stress and anxiety. It helps with pain relief when endorphins are released. It also helps with your sleep. So in an indirect way, it is helping improve sleep, which then helps enhance recovery and performance. So there's this full cycle of benefit with massage therapy, and then taking into your own hands, rolling out with a foam roller or across a massage ball in more targeted fashion can be a really great tool to take into your own hands that mixed in with some like light active recovery and active stretching, so we're not cold stretching
Right,
or warm
yeah.
stretching. There's a whole slew of things that we can do for ourselves, which maybe we'll come up with some instructional videos at some point in time.
Yeah, we'll put together something.
We will.
Yeah, we've actually talked about this before.
Yeah.
It would be very beneficial for everybody, and incorporate it to your daily routine.
Yeah.
Because even if you can't make it to training, or you can't afford, whatever the reason is that you can't do it, you still can do something for yourself.
Absolutely.
And go back to making the time for it, have the discipline to do it because you need to. Maybe you don't want to, but you need to. And there's a difference between like being motivated to do something and having the discipline to do it.
Mm-hmm.
The discipline is you do it no matter what.
Yeah.
In this case, it's needed no matter what. Think like self-care, maintenance, mobility, however you want to call it, it's needed.
Yeah.
And it's needed. And especially if you train, if you do heavy training, resistance training, come to my classes, PT, whatever it is, you need to make time for recovery.
Yeah.
And like Jessi said, it doesn't have to be sitting on the couch with brownies, which it's allowed from time to time. It's allowed, right? But it's you still want to move, and it's light. It could be light walk, light jog. Maybe it's a hike. Maybe it's a mobility session that we put together. Something. You're still moving. You're allowing blood flow to happen, which is key for increase the range of motion, increase mobility, increase flexibility, and that's why in a lot of my sessions I'm always telling people, like on warm-ups, like you have to go light, and we're moving here.
Yeah.
This is not the workout.
Yeah.
This is a warm-up. Listen to the word. Warm up, okay? It's light, it's easy. We want to get moving because you come into class cold.
Yeah.
And even if you're like every day, like you get up, what do we do in the mornings? We just get up and go. We're cold, and I've heard of many of my clients pull something because they get out of bed too quick, or they like grab the phone for whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it happens a lot. So
That
move.
first stretch that we do in the morning, we're like,
Right,
it's
yeah.
actually very important. Like that is a
Okay,
good.
so take notes. You do that stretch, and then you do like some scorpions, right? Pull that knee up.
Some breaths, some
Yeah.
deep breaths.
5
There you
minutes.
go.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
5 minutes. That's all it takes.
That's right.
But yeah, guys, Jessi, thank you so much
Thank you.
for being here.
Yeah.
This is great. A lot of information that we can all use. And once again, guys, Jay's information is going to be linked with this video. If you guys have any more questions, if we didn't cover something, please let us know. Comment on this video, and we are going to be putting some stuff together for you guys to do on your own. And so yeah, guys, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jessi.
Yeah. We did it.
We did it. I think that went well.
I think so.
I'm curious to see how long it is.
Yeah, I know. Probably went longer.